Not that long ago, Kyle Shanahan was a new hire for the 49ers. Sean McVay was a new hire for the Rams, and it's worked out for them. They haven't been thrown overboard yet, and they are responsible for one of the great rivalries now in the NFL. It never gets better than two teams from the same division who play each other twice per year, every year, crossing paths in a conference championship game with a Super Bowl berth on the line. Chris, we're going to talk about the NFC Championship game. Before we get into it, though, we need to hear from Sean McVay as he tries to explain the simple fact that Kyle Shanahan, the last 3 years, every single game, has been living inside the head, as the kids say, rent-free, of Sean McVay. Here's McVay from yesterday.
What I do have is respect for these guys. They've done a great job. You know, you look at it, you got to play well in that 3.5-hour window that we're allotted. You look at the last time that we played them, didn't finish the game, but this is a really good football team. We have a lot of respect for them, but we're competing and preparing to the best of our ability to go out and see if we can advance. But this is a really good team. Kyle's an excellent coach. They got great players, great coaches, good schemes. And so that's why they're in the NFC Championship.
6 straight games, and most recently, and look, you got to both of these games are rematches of regular season games played this month. Not in September, not in October, in January. Chiefs at Bengals, Bengals won, and 49ers at Rams, with the 49ers on life support, the Rams trying to win the division, and they ultimately did win the division because the Cardinals lost, but I digress. The 49ers down 17-0 came back and won the game this month, the last game before the playoffs started.
Right.
How does that not trickle over? It's like a continuation of that game, Chris.
It does. It definitely trickles over. It's personal. You know, Sean McVay having to answer that question right there, I mean, do you think that doesn't piss him off? You don't think that's going to, make him stay in the office another 2 hours last night? Because he's going, man, I got this reputation that I can't beat the guy that I'm friends with and I work with. It's going to drive him crazy. He seemed annoyed answering the question right there. I mean, how many times did he say, we respect what they do? He didn't know what to say. I guarantee either one of these guys, if they were on the wrong end of this would be pull your hair out. I can't believe it. Unbelievable. And especially the way they have lost. You know, you look at the 6 games, you go, other than the first game earlier this year where the Rams were a little bit in that turnover disease, Stafford threw the ball up to Odell, Higbee caught a screen pass and popped it in the air and it got intercepted for a pick 6. But all the other games, I mean, they're nail biters. It's coming down to the end. It's a field goal. I mean, it's as close as it gets. And the Rams have just not been able to find a way to get over the edge at the end of those football games. So that's where it's going to be testy for sure. And the fact that the Rams lost that game to end the season and the way they did it, up 17-0, let them come back, let the run game of Shanahan kind of dominate the second half to a degree. No doubt. I think this is going to be personal. These are two teams that are chippy to begin with. It's two head coaches that are chippy to begin with. They pride themselves on their teams having, we've talked about this before, Mike, crazy guys where it's like, hey, I want a guy that's crazy and flies around. If I tell him to run through that window and that wall over there, he doesn't think twice and he does that. And they got a lot of those guys on this team. And it's funny in that NFC West. It's like McVay can't beat Shanahan. Shanahan can't beat Pete Carroll, and Pete Carroll can't beat McVay. They got this little 3-way cycle here that is very interesting, but I would think this is really personal this week to McVay, and he's sick of hearing this talk.
And, one of the under-the-radar great regular season games in recent years was an unexpected Thursday night barn burner between these two teams in McVay's first season on the job. Do you remember that game?
I do remember.
41-39 in San Francisco. That was back when they used to have the late arriving crowd in San Francisco, which meant no one was going to the games because they weren't very good. This was when they were trying to build something with Kyle Shanahan there as the head coach. 41-39 was the final. It was one of those, hey, it's football, it's on TV, it's Thursday night, let's watch it. I remember being down in my barn. I remember being transfixed by that game. It was back and forth. So we were spoiled by the divisional round. We've been spoiled by this rivalry. it's hard not to think we're going to get a great game between these two teams.
I would be shocked if this is not a one-scorer late in the fourth quarter football team. They know each other so well. They match up with each other so well. And, of course, there's a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. You talk about the chess moves between McVay and Shanahan. These are two brilliant coaches. They teach their teams to be tough. I expect a great football game on Sunday night. I really do. And again, with the 49er fan base coming into L.A., the chippiness of the Rams, they're going to not like the way they played or ended that football game in Week 18 that you talk about. The 49ers have been playing basically playoff games since early December to try to stay alive and get in this thing. I can't imagine that this won't be high drama. And, too, you look at it, and the 49ers, they're a tough matchup for the Rams. They are. They do some things like we talked about a little last week where we didn't see the Bucs do it. The 49ers will run right at Aaron Donald. They're very creative in the run game. The Rams want to make it a pass game and fly around and pass rush, and now we got guys dropping and Jalen Ramsey's playing man-to-man and doing all that. And, of course, the 49ers are the opposite of that. Shanahan's the only coach in football where the game planning starts that week with, how am I going to screw the other team over in the run game? He's the only one that's like that in the league, and that's a bad combination for the Rams. But the Rams have continually gotten better at the end of the season. Only thing we questioned late in the year was, how many times, Mike, did you hear me say, hey, the defense has got to go, and the offense has got to go, and special teams has got to go? I just questioned Stafford. That question's out the door right now. And I got to think the Rams have about as much confidence going into this football game as they've had at any point, in the last year because of the way they handled Tampa Bay physically last week. And that's where I think this is going to be awesome.
I've been trying to understand why I've got this mental block about the fact, and it is a fact, I just checked it, Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay became the coaches of their respective teams the same year.
Yeah.
I don't know why I think Shanahan was there longer. And then I see the graphic with the Kyle Shanahan original driver's license picture looking like McLovin without the glasses. And I realize, at least externally, the last 5 years have been much harder on Shanahan than they have been on McVay. And maybe that's why I think Shanahan's been there longer, because he's gone from fresh-faced to grizzled, and McVay looks the same.
McVay does look the same. You're right. I mean, there's no grays. I mean, Shanahan, he's got gray hair. His beard is gray now. He's aged more than any coach I've ever seen in my life over the last 5 years. I mean, he really has. Shanahan went from young, handsome coach for the 49ers to looking like the guy in the Dos Equis commercial, like the most interesting man in the world. You're like, damn, he went from 38 to 61 in a matter of 4 years. Holy crap. But hey, this is where this is going to be awesome. This is where the game, to me, when you have two great teams with a lot of studs and talent and stars on both sides of the ball, so many difference makers, and then you got, you add to it the McVay-Shanahan aspect. Raheem Morris on the defensive side of the ball was also in Washington with the Shanahan family and back in Tampa when I was there with Shanahan. So there's a lot of paths that cross between these two coaching staffs, and that's where it's going to be really interesting. It is. Rams are a little healthier this time around. They'll be able to sell that. Stafford playing better. Akers is full go. So they're going to look at it and go, wait, we messed some things up, and I think we can find some new tricks in this game. And we can beat this team. We're not far off. We're every bit as good of them. We just can't make stupid mistakes, and we saw Stafford do that a little bit. Jimmy Garoppolo did it a little bit. It's one of those, Mike, where I sit here, and as I go back and forth with who I think is going to win the game, I get into a little bit of a thing that I don't like to do a lot of the times, where I go, well, it might come down to the quarterbacks. You know me. I hate that crap. I hate it because it's a team sport, and there's so much more to it than that. But this might be one where, damn, it might come down to the quarterbacks. And not necessarily like who throws for 350 and 3 touchdowns, but who just makes the dumb, crucial mistake. And that's where, sometimes when I think about this game, I just lead back to that, and I go, wait, who do I think's going to mess this up? Maybe that's how I should just pick the game. Be very interesting from that aspect, too.
Or who's going to make the big throw in the big
Or
spot
that
like
too.
the one that we saw
Right.
Matthew Stafford make.
Exactly.
To cap the game after all the momentum had swung completely in the direction of the Buccaneers. Stafford uncorks that beauty to Cooper Kupp. That's something that Jimmy G doesn't do.
No.
Jimmy G
No.
doesn't make that throw. Matthew Stafford does.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.